But as we go closer to 2024 general, national and provincial elections, more political parties will be registering at the IEC to contest, one of them being just released or just announced yesterday, the launch of the Referendum Party. They spring out from the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, a single issue party. The only goal is to get enough votes to get some representation so they can call for a referendum for Cape Independence here in the Western Cape. For Craig, founder of the Referendum Party, you're going to be on the ballot in 2024?
Well, yes, certainly mine and several others. So, yes, we haven't announced our candidate list, but we definitely will be putting up candidates for the 2024 election, both provincially and nationally.
There's already been a Cape Independence type party that has been contesting here in Cape Town, not to great success, and I'll talk a bit about your presumption of success in a short while, but there has been a Cape Independence style party that's contested since 2011 already. What's different to your organization?
Well, look, I can't answer for the Cape Independence Party, as you say. Look, and actually, from the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, we worked quite a bit with the Cape Party, and effectively they're an ally. Unfortunately, we know from polling and from the number of people that signed up with organisations like Cape Exit, there's a massive amount of support for Cape Independence. That's beyond doubt. For whatever reason, the Cape Independence Party hasn't been able to capitalise on that support, and ultimately, this is just something that's too important to leave in the hands of a party that, for whatever reason, is not succeeding. So we decided to put up the Referendum Party and to just press this specific issue. And actually, it's almost a step before Cape Independence. What we're arguing for at the Referendum Party is not even Cape Independence per se. What we're saying is there is clearly a lot of support in the Western Cape for Cape Independence. There are clearly major problems in South Africa, which are going to catch us up in the Western Cape sooner or later. So let's consult the people of the Western Cape and see whether they want Cape Independence or not. And I think we're not supposed to really do that in elections. We're supposed to do that in a referendum. That is the format. From our most recent polling in August showed that 68% of Western Cape voters support a referendum being held on Cape Independence, and we want the Premier to listen to the people of the Western Cape and to actually give meaning to the word democracy.
I've not seen any of that data. How accurate is it? Many people argue. You say that there are 60% of Western Cape residents who want a referendum. I watched a little bit of your press conference yesterday saying that there are 1 million people who are supporters of Cape Independence. But if you look at the 2021 results of the Cape Party, only getting just over 5,000 votes in the city of Cape Town. They have 2 seats, though, in the city of Cape Town's council. You claim 1 million, but only 5,000 voting for a Cape Independence thought in 2021.
Yeah, look, and I think there's a lot of misinformation around this. So first of all, there were 3 parties in 2021 that had Cape Independence on their manifesto: the Freedom Front Plus, the Cape Coloured Congress, and the Cape Independence Party. Even in 2021, we had 5.3%. But we have to understand there's a difference. The whole point of independence decisions being made by referendum is they're not inherently party political. So often, people shouldn't have to choose between voting for their present in terms of who's governing them now and their future in terms of how that should look in a referendum, which isn't party political. The polling we've done, we've spent hundreds of thousands on polling. We've used the best organisations. We've found the research. We're not the only organisation that's polled it. We all find the same results, that there's overwhelming support for a referendum. Now, people say, well, hang on a second, you can't trust polling, it's only polling, and they're right. But the only way we'll truly know is to hold a referendum. And actually, which side, what you have to ask yourself here is which side doesn't want to ask the Western Cape people? We're not asking for Cape Independence. We're asking to ask the Western Cape people democratically, in accordance with the South African Constitution, is this something that they want? And actually, the other side is avoiding democracy. Alan Winde is avoiding democracy at this point in time and avoiding calling a referendum. So the only way we'll truly know what the Western Cape people want is by holding a referendum. And why would we avoid that? Why would we get ourselves in a situation where where we say we don't want to know what the Western Cape people think about this issue. What is it that the DA and Alan Windey is scared of? And I know from internal documents exactly what they're scared of. They know that the majority of people in the Western Cape want a referendum on Cape independence, and they're scared to ask.
And you need about 17,000 votes to get a seat in the Western Cape legislature at the moment, at the current calculation. If you don't get a seat in the Western Cape legislature, that then surely should be then the test of whether there is then this appetite for Cape independence or not.
No, well, look, I don't agree. This is not, setting up a party really was not the ideal way. We've been forced into this by the DA avoiding democracy on this issue. You have to understand that Cape independence is not a party political issue. So for in our own organisation, we have a diverse range of political views, and wanting to say, look, hang on a second, the Western Cape people have a right to make decisions for themselves, which is fundamentally about democracy and self-determination, is different from saying, well, how do we want to have that? So some of my colleagues might have a different view of how an independent Western Cape should be run, but we will agree that it's a decision for the Western Cape people to make and not voters in the rest of the country. So, the trouble with elections is you're forcing people, effectively, let's put it into real terms, most people in the Western Cape want a DA-led Western Cape government. Now, so therefore, the primary, when they're voting for their now, for their present. We know that the DA are doing a good job of running the Western Cape. But actually, Cape independence is about their future as an abstract, and they shouldn't have to choose between their present and their future. And that was why specifically we put the Referendum Party up. We effectively we think the DA have put voters in a very unfair dilemma, having to choose between their present and their future. So at the Referendum Party, we are guaranteeing, we're making a pledge that we're going to vote with the DA to allow them to form a Western Cape government, which frees people from worrying that a vote for Cape independence is going to see the DA unelected. But we're going to hold them to account. So a vote for the Referendum Party is a vote for a DA government to look after your present, but also a referendum on Cape independence so that we can look after our future.
Who is this demographic that you are polling? And I know we operate and we live within our own bubbles. I currently live in a bubble when I look at our WhatsApp line, largely negative to your message. I live in a bubble where I speak to those around me. In terms of your polling, who is this demographic you say of 68% of Western Cape residents who want a referendum on cessation?
It's everybody, and I think and I'm glad you recognise it's the bubble, because I think that is the danger. We all live in bubbles, so that's why you have to conduct independent polling. We employ
when you make that polling, when you make that data, and we'll make that sample size available to us.
We have done. We have made it available to you. It's on the website of the CIAG. We use Victory Research, which is a leading research organisation, and we made and it was a fully representative sample. Everybody, racially representative, demographically representative, age representative. For where people live, the whole of the Western Cape. It's a fully representative sample, and actually, it's not just us that have polled this issue, although all of that polling has been made public, unfortunately, but we can't control what other people do. But the DA themselves have polled this issue, and they'll never say it publicly because it doesn't suit them. But when they're next on your show, ask them straight out, have this issue, and do the majority of the people of the Western Cape want a referendum on Cape independence? They won't lie to you.
For Craig, really appreciate your time, your thoughts. 021-446-0567. I'd vote a hard no. We don't need more segregation, says a listener. Whether you're for or against the Referendum Party, we are heading to an election, and we will speak to a lot of political parties as they decide to contest the 2024 general election.